Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's Season 11, Episode 5, and today we play our Carabao Cup semi-final second leg against Tottenham, looking to overturn a deficit after a terrible first leg performance. We're continuing our quest for trophies, just one game away from Wembley and another final, having won the competition 2 years ago. We're still flying high at the top of the league, despite a slight slip-up against 8th place Brighton at the weekend, although we had rested some players with this game in mind. We've got what's on paper a pretty easy FA Cup game against Championship Hull at the weekend. We're also into the knockout stages of the European Cup, so plenty of action for the second half of this year, and hopefully we can add one or two more trophies to the board to get ourselves a big move to an elite club in the summer. Our reputation's gone up yet again as we completed our Continental B licence, so we are moving up in the world, and obviously with the European Super Cup win earlier this season, we've gone past 4 stars for our reputation. A Premier League win will obviously do wonders for that, but if we can win another domestic cup, or maybe even compete for the latter stages of the Champions League, that will surely help us further as we look to make a big move in this series. You can see we've got a couple of players out for today, René Bazan and Adriano Lavinas, just a couple of our first team pros out, and as we move midway through the January transfer window now, we talked with excitement in the last couple of episodes about being handed a bigger transfer budget for January. Our director of football's been in charge of that. Unfortunately, he's not signed anyone yet, and he has let one big name player go. If we go to our transfer history, it's someone who featured very prominently in the last episode, so go back and check it out if you haven't seen it yet. It was one of the most tense, nervy episodes of the series so far, so please do go back and check it out if you haven't seen it already. And one of the reasons that game was so tense was because of Ezri Konsa. He's gone to Watford on the 8th of January for £23 million. Not a bad sum of money for a player into his 30s now, and he's past his peak, to be brutally honest, but the problem again is we haven't signed a replacement and we haven't used that money to invest in the squad. So he's gone off to Watford, where I'm sure he'll do well. They're competing up near the top end of the league. If we go back to the home screen, they're in 6th place at the moment, so I'm sure he'll be an influential player there. We've had big money bids for both Florentin Bernard and Valdir Ranzan in January so far. Our director of football's batted them off at the moment, but it's only a matter of time, I feel. 77 million for Ranzan and 79 million for Bernard, and if the clubs get past the 80 mark, I've got no doubt our director of football will accept them, as he just can't help but give this club more money without investing anything to help us. But we have got the best attacking record in the league, the second best defensive one as well. We're only just conceding over 1 in 2 games, so it's a really brilliant record so far. We've got a wonderful disciplinary record in the league, and our ground's pretty much full every week. But let's go and have a look at the schedule for the games since you were last with me. We have had quite a few off camera, most of them again ending in victory over the Christmas period, but a couple of disappointing results recently, including the one that's going to crucially affect this second leg today. So you were with me for that gripping 1-0 win at Porto in the last Champions League group game. As I said a few moments ago, if you haven't seen that yet, I know you'll now know the result, but it's still worth going back to check out. It was an absolutely crazy game, so I hope those of you who watched along really enjoyed it. We followed it up with a 3-0 win at home in the Premier League against West Ham. Valdir Ranzan and a brace from Lera with the goals in that one. We won 4-0 in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. Again, mostly a backup team played in that one. Pedro the right back, Bazan on the left, and Douglas Luiz with a brace of penalties. Before a 2-0 win the following Sunday in the Premier League against Fulham, Ranzan and Arzani with first half goals and a late sending off for Fulham which didn't affect the game. A 3-1 win followed away at Liverpool. They're having a really disappointing season. A late consolation for Ryan Brewster, but Bernard had already got a brace by that time, and Manchester United loanee Heurelho Gomes. Why he's not playing in their first team I don't know, but we're delighted to have him here, and he popped up with a goal in that one. We won 2-1 on the road against Bristol City in the last game before Christmas. We did go 1-0 down, but Ranzan got a penalty on the stroke of half time, and Florentin Bernard again with the winner in the second half before we beat United 1-0 on Boxing Day. A really crucial performance this one. It was a nothing game in truth, but Douglas Luiz popped up with a late penalty to give us the bonus of all 3 points. Our FA Cup campaign for this season began the following weekend. A 4-0 comprehensive win at home to Northampton. Bernard Martin the backup striker with a brace of penalties, and then Douglas Luiz and René Bazan wrapping up a really comfortable comfortable result. All of those players that were rested then played at home to Tottenham, and we were absolutely terrible. A big semi-final and we lost it 1-0, which leaves Tottenham in pole position going into today's game. A 4-1 win at home to Arsenal though, as we got back to form in the league. I certainly don't want to be throwing away the title with a 10-point lead at the moment. I know Tottenham have got a game in hand, but we're certainly clear favourites for the title. It was a bit of a strange game, another late sending off for our opposition, but Heurelho Gomes the hero again, and Florentin Bernard getting a goal as always. Christopher Feldhoff got what I thought was his first Premier League goal. It was, he's only made 3 appearances, and he's starting to improve in training as well. And then another 3-goal win, this time 3-0 at home to Leicester. All second half goals from Arzani, Ranzan and Oliveira, who wrapped it up late into stoppage time. And then a bit of a disappointing slip up against Brighton. We'd only dropped 5 points in the league before this game, but another 2 went in this one. Billy Gilmour gave us the lead early on with a brilliant strike, but James Tizard equalised before half time, and if anything we were pretty lucky to come out of it with a draw. So obviously this game today is going to be crucial. It determines whether we get to another cup final or not. After this it's pretty clear when we're going to be back. If we get through to the Carabao Cup final, we'll obviously show that one from Wembley. If not, we've got the second leg of the Champions League knockout round. Our reward for beating Porto in that brilliant game last time out was to get Real Madrid, the star Spanish side, one of the sides we'd love to move to in this series in the summer. Hopefully we'll be able to knock them out, but it's going to be a very tough task, and in truth after the last 2 years in the Europa League, we're just glad to have reached the knockout stages. But that's enough talk about the future, let's focus on today. We're playing the second leg of our Carabao Cup semi-final. It's going to be a really difficult game considering we're 1-0 down, and we've had to throw out all the big guns, which is probably why we dropped some points at home to Brighton. So let's see what we can do with the lineup we've got out for today. Tottenham are actually slight favourites, having won 5 in a row. Jurgen Klopp's really got on playing well, and they're absolutely flying. If we do get through, it looks like we're going to be playing City in the final again for the 3rd time this season in 3 competitions, but we've got a long way to go before we can worry about that, as we're in pretty inconsistent form by our standards. So our lineup for today is Machilov in goal, pretty much our first 11 available for this one. Gomez and Lewis are the fullbacks, Maflufi, who's replaced Konza permanently now he's left, alongside Yanderson in the middle. Gomez is in his segundo volante role with Leonardo as the playmaker, and then Arzani, Ranzan and Lera the 3-man creative force behind Florentin Bernard up front. We've got some big hitters on the bench if we need them. Oliveira's always turned up in big games, the likes of Billy Gilmour as a creative force, Bernard Martin off the bench up front, and then the youngster Feldhoff who's finally improving, and Mason Greenwood who's always done a good job for us. If we do manage to get 2 goals up, we've got the likes of Declan Rice and Pedro to come on. Unfortunately Douglas Luiz isn't fit. I probably would have played him today ahead of Gomez, as he's often our hero in the big games, but unfortunately he didn't quite make it, so we've got to put up with the 18 available. Let's get into the game, see if we can get the result. It'd be a miracle to overturn it against the second best side in England this year, but you never know what could happen on a special night in the Cup, under the lights this time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's a 4-3-3 for Tottenham, Harry Kane playing out on the left wing again, the player that almost joined us in the summer, 35 years of age now. He's got Under on the opposite wing, who obviously scored the goal in the first leg. Horace Stewart, the Ballon d'Or nominee of former years, he's up front on his own. They've got Purby in midfield, who's done well against us in the past. Davinson Sánchez, their centre-half in real life, still there, alongside Sula, who's obviously been at Bayern Munich, and then Lewis Cook in the holding role, the Bournemouth youngster in real life. Let's go and talk to the lads, fingers crossed they can get a result. I'll be honest, I'll be pretty surprised if we manage to get through at this rate. The first leg performance was so poor, but most of these lads are motivated by our team talk. We've told them to go out and put a worthy display in, and if it isn't enough then so be it. We can go back to focusing on the Premier League. They're a very good team, but we want to keep our good form going, even though it's not been particularly great by our standards. And as we get into the first half with Maflufi at the back, hopefully we can create the first chance of the match. It's Lewis in the middle, but the highlight ends, and with a couple of minutes gone it remains 0-0. 1-0 to Spurs on aggregate. We know we've got to score tonight. We're back with Arzani in the middle to Gomez. He finds Leonardo the playmaker. Jamal Lewis is overlapping on the left. He's slightly overhit, but he's going to get there. Though Lewis Cook is across to cover brilliantly, but it doesn't matter. The hero of the first leg for Spurs underhit the back pass to the keeper. It was underhit terribly. Florentin Bernard just ran in and 2 yards out smashed it in, and we lead 1-0 on the night, and it's back on level terms on aggregate. Under puts in a brilliant corner a couple of minutes later, but a header from Sula straight at Machilov, and he clears long downfield. What a gift to get us back on level terms, and maybe it will be our night, but since the goal is Tottenham coming forward, and Stewart's got the ball in the middle. What a save by Machilov. That was absolutely absolutely world class. It looked like it went off the woodwork in the end, but I'm pretty sure Machilov got a hand on it first. Brilliant piece of goalkeeping by the Russian, and we continue forward now with Joe Gomez. Arzani gets it into Ranzan. We're opening Tottenham up here. Can he find the through ball for Lera? Goes for the shot. It's a great save by the Spurs keeper, and it's cleared away to halfway where Yanderson will recycle possession. 12 minutes gone. It's been a brilliant start to the match. Both sides having plenty of chances, but most importantly, we've levelled it up on aggregate, and with a quarter of the game gone, we're well in this tie. Half an hour gone exactly. It's Machilov with the goal kick to Yanderson. Short goal kicks, you know we always play those now. We've got a really good brand of football here at Newcastle, and it's going to be our challenge next year to recreate this somewhere else. But Ranzan puts in Bernard, and I was just disrupted for a minute there, as it was a brilliant effort by Florentin Bernard. Crashes off the woodwork and hacked away by Spurs. We're really starting to get on top in this one. Leonardo with the ball on the left-hand side to Gomez. Lewis running off them again, causing all sorts of trouble. It's headed away in the box and Kane flicks it further. Gomez gets the ball inside to Claudio Gomez. Back to Joe Gomez again. A little bit confusing that one, but it's back with Leonardo in the middle. Here's Arzani on the inside right. Goes back to Gomez. We're just content keeping possession at the moment. It looks like the lads are waiting for the right opportunity. Here's Leonardo. Can he find it? Brilliant ball to Ranzan, but he shoots from distance and he's comfortably over the bar. It remains 1-0 on the night and 1-1 on aggregate. A long kick by Spurs downfield. Not many breaks between the highlights now, and we've got to be careful for Horace Stewart. He shoots from distance this time though. It's comfortably over the bar and onto the roof of the net, and with 10 minutes to the break, it's still level on aggregate. We've reached half-time with no further highlights. It's still 1-0 on the night. An absolute gift of a goal, but we won't mind. If it's the goal that gets us through to another cup final, we're certainly not going to complain. As it stands, we'll be going all the way to extra time and penalties, so we'd like to avoid that. But we're assertively going to tell the lads to prove a point again, and fingers crossed they'll go out as motivated in the second half. A really decent performance. We certainly had the edge of the game, and now Cook's got the ball to Lazaro, the left-back, as Spurs try to come forward in the second half. Can they counter and get the goal, which would almost kill off the tie? We won't find out from this highlight, as it ends with the score still 1-0 on the night. It's a throw in a defensive area for Joe Gomez. Down the line to Arzani. The fullbacks misjudged that. Might have even been Harry Kane doubling up back there, but we've given the ball away in the end, and now Perby gets it to Cook in the middle. He goes back to Sula, the centre half. To Timmermans, the right back for Spurs. They're keeping possession well. Both sides are clearly in good form. They're the best two sides in English football this season. Manchester City have been a little bit disappointing, and Tottenham have really come to the party, up in second place. The ball's into Harry Kane just inside the box. He took it first time, but it went just wide of the far post, and we survive at 1-0 on the night. With an hour gone, we're going to have to think about changes in a moment. We're back with a highlight though, which starts with a free kick. Machilov taking it 25 yards out. Yanderson go back to him again as we're struggling to get the ball forward. It's a good pass to Arzani on halfway though, although he gives the ball away and now Harry Kane's in possession. Cook finds Jensen and now Perby. Inside to Horace Stewart. He's got a man running off him in Robert. Brilliant block by Yanderson. Fantastic defending to slide in front of the shot, and it's behind for an outswinging corner, which Perby will take for Spurs. Yanderson's the man that's there again to head it away. It's only as far as Jensen though, and it looks like Spurs can start again with Lewis Cook in possession on halfway. He gives it back to Timmermans and the highlight ends, but we're back with a free kick now as Perby puts one wide. Tottenham's starting to get on top, so we will think about making some changes, and fingers crossed we can get back into the game and try and find a winner in the last 25 minutes. Lera's really nervous, which is a bit of a surprise. We're going to bring on Mason Greenwood as it's our only option on the left. He'll go as an inside forward, a bit like our tactic last year. Arzani's not had the best game on the other side, but I want to give him 5 more minutes. Leonardo's been disappointing too, so Billy Gilmore will come on for him. He scored the goal at the weekend in an otherwise disappointing team performance. So 2 subs made. The other plan is for Feldhoff to come on for Arzani, but we want to give it another 5 minutes before having our last substitution made. Maflufi plays a 1-2 with Machilov as we're coming forward again. Sanchez wins it on halfway for Spurs. Jensen gets it forward. Kane's running off the fullback. Can he deliver into the box? He does. Horace Stewart heads just over, and we've survived there, and Arzani's conditions dropped into the 60s, so we're going to bring Feldhoff on now, and hopefully he'll be able to do something special. We're going to put him in his preferred winger role, and fingers crossed he'll be able to beat his fullback and just put in that one special cross. 10 to go. It's still 1-0 on the night, though Horace Stewart is certainly looking a threat, and Spurs are still dominating the game. Heurelho Gomes back to Machilov as we're under pressure again. Bernard wins the flick on though and gets it back to Ranzan. Cook wins the ball but it's only fallen to Feldov. He's taking on his man on the right, delivers early towards the back post. Timmermans heads away though and it's fallen for Horace Stewart. He gets it wide to Kane. The 35-year-old still going. He's pushed Stewart in on a plate. Brilliant shot and Machilov saves. Wonderful goalkeeping again from Newcastle. Bernard's got it on the right hand side as it's becoming an end-to-end match. Brilliant counter-attacking football, but Bernard gives the ball away to Jensen and Stewart puts Kane in behind. It's overhit and out for a throw-in, and with 5 to go we're still surviving. I forgot the Carabao Cup no longer goes to extra time, so we're into a penalty shootout. As you can see from the penalty taking ratings, we're certainly not going to be favourites. Horace Stewart and Harry Kane certainly better takers. Let's just put them in order on here. We're not going to do the auto pick because we need to make our own changes. Excuse the mouse clicking in the background. Ranzan's going to go first as he scored a few in the past, followed by Feldov in second place. Heurelho Gomes has always done well for us. Florentin Bernard in the crucial 4th position. 5th could be absolutely anyone. We're going to go for Billy Gilmore, and then I'm going to go for Mason Greenwood even though his rating's one worse, just because he's got good finishing and composure. Yanderson will be next as he's been a brilliant player this year, followed by Jamal Lewis because I like the left footer, and then Joe Gomez and Mohamed Maflouthi, with Machilov following up in last place should the penalty shootout go that far. Let's see who's going to be taken first. It's going to be a nervy shootout. I certainly don't think we're favourites, particularly with the ratings we've got. But we've seen in the other series with Torquay, as Ranzan misses the first penalty, you can forget what I was going to say. Good penalty taking ratings don't mean good penalties, but the poor ones certainly don't mean it either. Harry Kane puts it in the bottom corner. There's the experience telling then, and Ranzan, who scores so many in the league and cups, has let us down in a big shootout. Feldov's never taken one for the club. He's missed as well. It's a good save, but it's a comfortable height for the keeper, and we now trail 1-0 having taken 2 penalties. This shootout's certainly going to end badly. Robert's had a penalty saved as well. Machilov's trying to keep us in it, but we've got to actually score one if we want to win this shootout, and that's where the difficulty's coming at the moment. Gomez steps up, puts it in the corner. The United loanee doesn't let us down. He's been an excellent signing this season. We need more heroics from Machilov now, as Spurs are still ahead if they score this one. Purby puts it into the corner. Machilov didn't really have a chance. It's 2-1 to Tottenham after 3 penalties each. Florentin Bernard, the top scorer, steps up. Will he score? He does. That's an emphatic penalty from the centre forward. And now Caballero steps up for Spurs, trying to put them back ahead. We could love a bit of heroics now, and it is from Machilov, diving low to his right hand side. A fantastic save to make it 2-2, with 1 penalty each to come. Can Billy Gilmore score for us? He slots it into the corner, and maybe it's not over just yet, as one more Machilov save here will take us through to the final. I'm sure we're getting louder, but Machilov's excited me, and if Timmermans misses this penalty, we're through to another Wembley final. Fingers crossed Machilov can produce some heroics. Has really stepped up since David Raya left, and he's just got to produce one more save here to take us through to the final. It's into the top corner, a brilliant penalty from Timmermans, and now we go forward to sudden death. Here's my gamble with Mason Greenwood. The worst taking rating. He's taking it with his left foot. I was absolutely worried there. He's naturally right-footed, but thankfully he's put the ball in the top corner, and we don't have to worry about that. Now we're taking first. If we score the penalties, we can relax and just rely on a bit of magic from Machilov. Is Sula, the experienced centre-half, stepping up for Spurs? Can he score? Puts the keeper the wrong way. A really good penalty, and these takers have been doing a brilliant job. Is now Yanderson, the Brazilian centre-half. A brilliant performance defensively today, and he slots the penalty into the bottom corner. So composed from the Brazilian. What a wonderful finish that was. Into the bottom corner, and now the ball's back in Machilov's court. Can he produce a bit of magic from Lewis Cook's penalty? Let's see what happens when Cook steps up. If he guesses the right way, he tends to save them at the moment, but that hasn't been the case with the last couple of penalties. Here comes Cook. Can he do it? Machilov's completely fooled. Cook's composure to put it in the corner, and Machilov barely moved in the end. Jamal Lewis steps up, the experienced left back. There's a bit of dancing from the keeper on his line, and the Spurs keeper saved it down to his right. A poor penalty, didn't have enough pace on it, and unfortunately now Spurs just need to score to win. Can Machilov produce the heroics yet again? It's Davinson Sánchez, the experienced Colombian centre-half, the real-life player from Spurs, still there after 11 years, must be a bit of a cult hero, but Machilov could make him the villain today if he can save this penalty now. He doesn't, and Spurs are through to the final, and after fighting back into this tie so hard, we've missed 3 penalties at the crucial stage, and as a result 2 bits of heroic keeping from Machilov weren't enough to see us through to the final. A good performance, but unfortunately we're are out. We'll tell the lads they did well on the night. They're unlucky, the penalties were a lottery, but they put in a really good performance and we're pretty proud they reacted, particularly after the awful first leg. So we'll go and quickly see what the media have said about the game, but that's one trophy we're definitely not going to win this year. Confirmation that our two best penalty takers in terms of attribute and rating both missed their spot kick in the shootout, and that's what cost us in the end. We've got a fitness concern for Arzani. We're not going to worry about the press conference at the moment. We're just going to go back to the schedule to confirm when we're back for our next episode. As it looks like we're a long way clear in the league at the moment, let's just go and have a look at the table again. Tottenham are in second place, 10 points behind. The next episode is definitely going to feature Real Madrid away. That's the second leg on the 7th of March in the Champions League. We should also have our youth intake around that time, so we can have a little look at that as well. But we'll definitely be back for the Real Madrid game, unless we get absolutely spanked 5 or 6-0 in the first leg, in which case we'll focus on the Premier League and a title we can actually secure. But if you did enjoy this episode and that spirited performance against Tottenham, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of it. As we mentioned in our other series in the last season or two, we've got a centre-half with a really good penalty taking attribute there, and he just keeps missing as well. Our best two in this shootout, I know they're not quite of the same standard, but they both missed their penalties while absolutely awful ones scored, so it seems a little bit strange that the attribute's not reflecting in the shootouts, although that's probably more a prominent issue in the other series where the players miss 6 or 7 consistently. Let me know as well what you think of Konza leaving, and do you think our director of football will finally sign one? He's got £96 million and 300 grand a week to play with now, so fingers crossed he'll eventually do something, and we'll have some news from that in the next episode too. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one the head coach, and then our One Club series part of the furniture with Torquay United, where we try to take them to the top of English and European football. There's also weekly content from my Snooker 19 career every Friday at 4:30, and keep your eyes peeled on the channel for content from Cricket 19. The official game of the Ashes was released last week, and after a few early issues with the Xbox One edition, we should be well into the swing of producing content this week, so if you are a fan of other sports games, do keep an eye on the channel this week, as we should have a couple of videos coming out from that game. But a massive thanks for watching and your continued support with the series as always. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you'll join me next time for another big knockout game where hopefully we'll have a little bit more luck against Real Madrid away from home.